Hello, I'm Gary Foreman from theDollarStretcher.com, and today we're visiting with Aaron Huffstetler, guide for Frugal Living section of About.com and owner of MyFrugalHome.com, and somebody who I consider a real expert in the field of frugal living, and best of all, somebody I consider my friend. Well, nice of you to join us today, Aaron.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And I thought maybe we could kind of focus on food, since most families spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20% of their take-home pay on food and groceries. So after home and auto, it's probably the best place for them to try to find some savings. And what's your favorite grocery saving strategy, Aaron?
You know, I think the biggest thing is to try to get in the mindset of buying ingredients instead of prepared foods. It's so easy to go in there and buy all these products that somebody else has already made for you, but you're really going to be paying for their time and their profits as well. So if you can just kind of start learning how to cook from scratch a little bit more and kind of build off of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember a number of years ago I commented that the best way to tell about your grocery bill is to see how much plastic you had in your grocery cart.
Yeah, that's very true. I think you'll definitely find as you start to cook more things yourself that your trash just really goes down. I think my family's down to about a bag a week.
And now, for a lot of people, though, frankly, a lot of us weren't taught by mom how to cook, and there's even some fear of it. For somebody who really has never done much more than hot dogs and eggs, how did they start cooking for themselves?
You know, honestly, I think you just kind of start doing it. You kind of, you might be intimidated in the beginning, but you just kind of have to decide that you're going to pick a recipe and you're going to try it, and if it goes great, wonderful, and if it doesn't, then you're just going to try it again and figure out how to do it. There are so many great tutorials online now on how to cook different meals, great recipes. Sites like Pinterest are really great for getting ideas of where to start. You just kind of have to do it.
And then now, are there any places specifically that you like for beginners in terms of tutorials on that, or is it pretty much some good things here and some good things there?
I think they're really kind of everywhere. I mentioned Pinterest, and I think that's a great place to start. So, maybe take a look at what kind of foods you're buying consistently and see if there are some there that are maybe obvious choices to try to make yourself. And then just either get on Google and search for, how to make biscuits or whatever it is you're trying to make, or do the same on Pinterest and see what you come up with.
Now, I know, especially with the TV shows and all, a lot of people are big into coupons. Is that something that you find works well for you and your family, or what do you advise people about coupons?
Yeah, I think coupons can be a really great way to save money on groceries. The mistake that I think a lot of people make is they decide they're going to coupon and they try to kind of go to the deep end right away, right? We try to save money on absolutely every item at once. So, I say figure out what works for you and what works for the amount of time you have. If you don't have 40 hours a week to coupon, then don't try to do it like what you're seeing on TV. Start with something as simple as going through the paper on Sunday and just simply cutting out the coupons for the items that you're already buying. That's a really, really simple thing to do. Or jump on a site like coupons.com and do the same. Just simply cut or print the coupons that you're using, for the products that you're using all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know because you offer some on MyFrugalHome.com, correct?
I do. What I'm doing there is kind of a cool thing. I feel like a lot of people think that there are only coupons out there for junk food, right? The things that we really shouldn't be eating to begin with. And there is a lot of that, but there are also coupons for things like meat and fruits and vegetables and the things that are more in line with what we should be eating. So I have a roundup that I do once a week, just kind of making a list of all of the different places that you can go and get coupons for those things. And coupons for really basic ingredients like what I was talking about before. So here's where to go get flour coupons, or here is where to go get these other baking supply ingredients. Just that's a really good way to go to if you're trying to stay healthy and save money at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And that now as you know, I'm a big believer in grocery price books, and is that something that you incorporate or advise others to try?
I do. If you're just starting to try to really rein in your grocery bill, I say absolutely start a price book. It can be as simple as writing down the foods that you're buying regularly, what you're paying for them, and then kind of keep track of if you find a sale on it. Write down what the sale price was, what the date was that you've got that item on sale, and that way, by doing that over time, you'll start to see patterns in how often foods are going on sale. It will help you to decide how much you should buy and stock up on when something's on sale. So, maybe you see that your favorite cereal is going on sale once every 6 weeks. Then okay, I'm going to buy a 6-week supply when I see it on sale, and that'll get me to the next sale. So I'm never paying more than the best price that I can get on it. For me, at this point in the game, I've done it for so long, I don't actually have a physical price book that I go off of. It's kind of all in my head. I know my price point on pretty much everything I'm buying. I can tell you that you're never going to catch me spending more than $2 on a box of cereal, for example. So I kind of watch for those prices, and I know when to jump on a deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, as a former purchasing manager, I always say that a price book gives just the average shopper the same capabilities that a professional buyer has.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's just really kind of getting in that mindset where you're aware of the sales trends and all the deals that are out there.
Another tool that I think helps people quite a bit in cutting their grocery bill is freezer meals, because it gives you an alternative to the fast food window on the way home from work. What do you advise people about freezer meals and how to prepare them, etc.?
Yeah, I think that if you're trying to really spend less on groceries, your freezer is probably one of your best assets. I actually have multiple freezers now because it's such a big part of how I save. So really it's as simple as you catch a deal on something and go ahead and like we were talking about, you stock up and buy it when it's at its cheapest price. So if you find an excellent deal on meat, maybe they've reduced price something, you can, by having a freezer and having that space, you can afford to go ahead and stock up and have those things on hand for quick meals. It can also be great if you're very busy, and I mean, who isn't, to take the time maybe once a month or once a week to kind of do a bunch of bulk cooking and then freeze those meals. So when you have a day that you're just too busy to think about food, that you don't default to go into the to a fast food place, you can pull something out of the freezer and have something on the table within 15 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know for myself, because I'm not likely to do bulk cooking, especially since there's only 2 of us in the house now. But for instance, if I'm a big barbecue guy, and if I smoke up a pork butt, well, I'll take half of it after I pulled it and freeze it, and I can pop that out of the microwave, pop that out of the freezer, pull it in the microwave, and in a very few minutes, I've got a main course ready for us.
Yeah, and I think another good point there is if you're gardening or you're simply hitting the farmers markets in the summer, the very best time to stock up on your fruits and vegetables is going to be when they're in season. That's when you're going to find them at their cheapest. So just simply taking advantage of that and having stuff that you can pull throughout the year. I haven't bought any fruits or vegetables this year. I'm still pulling stuff out of my freezer from last summer, and that's a really great thing to be able to do that.
Now is your freezer, is that your main way of preserving and storing fruits and vegetables, or you do canning and other methods?
Yeah, I do some canning and some, drying and other things. I find that for me, the freezing is the easiest way to go. It's just the fail-proof way. I think a lot of people are intimidated with canning and worried they're going to do it wrong and make their families sick.
So I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I think it's an important thing. If you're worried about that, definitely to take that into consideration. So for me, freezing is an easy way to know that I'm doing it safely, and honestly, freezing gives you a little more. You keep a little more of the vitamins and things in the food too. So there's kind of that benefit in play. So if you have the space to do it, that's a great thing to do. I know a lot of people are limited in what they can stick in their freezer, and so maybe in that case, it makes a little more sense.
Now, do you do any special preparation, or are there any foods that that really don't freeze particularly well?
Yeah, I do. I kind of each fruit or vegetable kind of has its own, approach to freezing it so that it really preserves, the integrity of what you're freezing. So a lot of things I'm blanching before I stick in. Some things it's as simply as just drop them on a cookie sheet and flash freeze them, and that's really all there is to it. Something like strawberries, that's all you're going to have to do. But yeah, there are some things that maybe don't freeze well, and you'll kind of learn some of that, just through trial and error. But something like celery is anything with a high water content like that it tends not to freeze very well. That kind of stuff is going to work okay if you're just planning on throwing it in a soup later. But if you're wanting to eat it, fresh out of the freezer, you're probably not going to be as happy with the results. So I would say if you're looking for a good starting point, to think of fruits and vegetables that kind of have a lower water content.
Mm-hmm. And I recall a little different subject. A number of years ago, I was working on a column, and I read that they were estimating that from the farmer all the way to our homes, that we waste approximately 30% of the food that's produced. Now, obviously, that's not all in our home, but I know, most of us, there's a few things that become science projects in the back of our refrigerators. In that, what techniques do you find are most helpful to reduce waste in the food that we buy?
I think the biggest thing you can do is really get a check on what your family eats and uses in a regular week. I can tell you right off the bat that I go through 3 gallons of milk a week or 3 boxes of cereal, and so just by knowing those habits, I know how much to buy and have on hand. That's huge. I think that we're just so busy we aren't paying attention to our actual habits, or maybe we have ideals at the grocery store of what we want to be eating, but when we get busy, we're eating something other. So just kind of reining that in is a huge deal. And then, I think you have to be mindful throughout the week that you take a minute to go look in your fridge, maybe even on a daily basis, to see what you have on hand. If it's something that you can just heat up and eat again like it is, or maybe it's something you want to think about sticking in a soup later in the week, or maybe it's something that just you need to take the minute to throw it in the freezer so that you're not having it go bad. I think it's just a series of small changes in our habits, really.
Yeah. One technique that I thought and has worked well for us is I'll actually take leftovers and take a portion of the meat, a portion of the vegetable, potato, whatever, on one plate. And so basically I have a meal for one person, almost like a TV or a microwave dinner, and ready to go. And then keep an inventory list of that on the front of the freezer. And so the night that maybe my wife's working late, I can come home, take a look, and say, gee, and I think I want some of that beef roast from the other night, and pop out, and I've got a dinner right there in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. I think anything you can do to make it easy for you to succeed, you're just going to be so much better off. We're not going to do the things that are hard, so you've got to make it just really, really easy to make these changes and to save money by doing these things.
And now, is there? I know every family is a little bit different, but when you advise people, what do you think is a reasonable percentage that somebody who's never worked on reducing their grocery bill, how much you think that they could save if they gave it an honest effort?
I think it depends on what you're tackling. So if you're starting with, I'm just going to only buy what's on sale, I think that's a big thing in itself. So I think you could easily knock 25% off your bill just by opening up the grocery ad each week and looking at what's on sale and planning your meals around those kinds of things. If you're even just doing, I think, small-scale couponing, that you could easily bring that amount up to 50%. I think that a lot of people, there's this perception that it's a lot harder to save money at the grocery store than it really is. It's more about just doing it than it is about some huge effort.
Yeah, the other thing I think that helps people save money at the grocery store is that we're making, not only are we making buying decisions in the grocery store, but we're making them when we decide whether we're going to hit fast food on the way home from work, or whether we stop for a cup of coffee and a donut on the way into work in the morning. We're continually making decisions.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and And I think that, we, like I keep saying, we're all very busy, and I think we make our worst decisions probably when we're stressed out and tired and just, we want the easy way out. So pay attention to those types of things. If you know that you like that cup of coffee on the way to work every day, then set the timer on the coffee pot so when you wake up in the morning, it's sitting there waiting for you, so that you're not going to default to running through a drive-through somewhere. Mm-hmm. If you know that you have a certain night of the week that you're consistently really, really busy, then have something ready to go, have something on hand. If eating out is something that you enjoy doing, then have some coupons ready to go so that the night you choose to do that, you might be doing it for half price instead of paying, the full price of going out.
Any words of encouragement for somebody who hasn't tried to get into this before, but thought that this year is the year that they need to do something with their grocery budget?
Yeah, I think probably the most encouraging thing right now is that it's easier to do than it ever has been before. You only had to go back a couple years where finding a coupon deal that you could use meant that you had to figure that out yourself. Now you've got so many daily deal sites out there, so many bloggers who are doing that, on a daily basis. So, find a site that you really like and check in a couple times a day, and just, if you do nothing else, then just follow and do a few of the deals that they're showing you. It does not have to be a hard thing.
Erin, those some great ideas, and so it sounds like if people follow some of those, they can cut their expenses by 4 or 5% of their total budget without making major lifestyle changes, which is really neat.
Yep.
And I think you're absolutely right. There are resources today, and among those are 2 that you're involved with: the Frugal Living section of About.com and MyFrugalHome.com, your own site. Mm-hmm. And we'd encourage people to visit there. We'll have links on the YouTube page for that, and we ask you all to come visit the dollarstretcher.com and find us on all the different social media sites, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Erin, thanks for being with us today and helping people save some money.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So until next time, thanks for being with us, and keep on stretching those dollars.